Hey guys, I wanted to share with you guys a few ghost stories that I have. And I know that the lighting is terrible in here. It's my bedroom. I don't have a fancy YouTube guru kind of spot that I can film in. I'm also filming off of my iPhone 6s. That's what I got. So it is what it is. Um, the two stories that I want to share with you are both kind of related, but not really related. They are both paranormal, but they're not related except for in the fact that they involved me. So, let's start with the first one that happened a couple years ago. Um, we have moved into this house about 11 years ago now, and we have, the previous owner that lived here was an older man, and he died in the house, and we knew that before we got the house. And it was a selling point kind of, because it's like cheaper because of that. And it was just something. It wasn't a big deal to us. That's just how we are. We're very spiritual kind of people. Definitely believe in ghosts, definitely believe in the afterlife, that kind of thing. So anyway, probably 2 to 3 years into living here. I mean, I've always kind of had weird things happen here. I've heard a lot of noises, heard a lot of bangs and, footsteps and doors jiggling, like things like that. Nothing very alarming. So this one night in particular, I had been out, and I was trying to rush home. And I know this is kind of a weird coincidence, but I was actually rushing home so I can catch an episode of Ghost Hunters. So I had just left my boyfriend at the time. He's now my fiance, all these years later. And I just left his house, and it only takes about 7 minutes or so to get from there to here. So, but I was still rushing because it was like so close to the time. So I hurry up, I get in the house. Everybody else is asleep. It was dark, and I walk into the living room, and when I first walk in, like, I see like somebody standing near this rocking chair that we have. And I was like, that's really weird. Like, only saw him for maybe a second or two before I blinked, and then when I blinked, he was gone. But by then, I had gotten like a full visual of what this person looked like. So, what I had seen was a little boy, and that's all I'm going to tell you for right now, because there's another part to this, and I'll explain to you what he looked like. So, right after that happened, I mean, I wasn't that freaked out because he didn't scare me at all. I mean, it was a little boy, so what's there to be freaked out about? But I mean, it was just a little bit, like, weird. And my first actual sighting of a ghost, so I was a little tiny bit freaked out, but not like freaked out in the way like I was going to like scream, run out of the house, and be like weird about it. So I called my boyfriend, and all I told him was that, oh my god, I just saw a ghost. And you know what I mean, he's like, oh, it's probably just your mind. He played it off like so many do. And I kind of agreed with him. So flash forward probably about 4 to 6 months later, I was coming in, it was late. This time I had my boyfriend with me, and he headed into the living room without me, like I was behind him. And I heard him say, "What's," and then he stopped, and I said, "What?" Like, what's going on? And he was like, I just thought, Jordan was awake, which is my oldest son, but at the time he was only like 3 years old. And I knew he was sleeping. My mom actually was here and watching him, and we were out and then came back. And I was like, he's sleeping, like, what the heck? So I asked him, I said, he was like, I saw this little boy standing right next to his rocking chair, and it looked kind of like Jordan, but then it didn't make sense because I knew that it was a Jordan. So I asked him, I was like, well, give me details. Like, what did this little boy look like? So he tells me that the little boy had blonde hair, like was dressed in a blue, like old timey, maybe 40s, 50s dress suit, and that he was maybe around 3 years old, and that he was just standing there, very pale, very, like, very kind of creepy. And it described the little boy that I saw to a T, especially that blue suit that was, 40s to 50s style, like church kind of, little suit that maybe, he wore to church or to his funeral. I don't know. But it definitely described it to a T. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I never told you what the little boy looked like. This is 100% just happened. So, I mean, we kind of freaked out about it, like, in the moment, but it wasn't like a scared, freaked out, like, oh my God, I'm gonna run out of here, like, scared to death. But it was just kind of like, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, kind of, you get chills, like, oh, what did I just see, kind of thing. So anyway, that was one story with the paranormal. Now I have many, but I'm just gonna cut it down to these two for right now. Maybe I'll tell more later, depending on how these do. So then the second one, I actually live in a town that's very old, some of the very first areas to be settled in the United States. And we have two very old cemeteries here. One is from 1650 something, and then the other one, which was built after, because that used to be a church that was on that land where the 16 something hundreds cemetery is. There used to be a church there, it burned down, so they built this other one, which is right up the road, so we're kind of smack dab between these two cemeteries. And that one was built in like 18 something, I can't remember now. I probably should have looked it up and researched it a little, but anyway, so sorry, I had to readjust a little. So anyway, I love paranormal stuff, and I think it's just, fascinates me. I want to know about the afterlife. Like, I believe I now know just from my experiences, which is another whole story time in itself, of what there is after we lose this physical body. But I'm still fascinated in the paranormal and ghosts and stuff like that. So probably about a year ago, I decided that I was going to download this app, which, that kind of stuff is hinky in a way. I'm not really, I don't believe in all of that, like, the millimeters and this and that and blah, 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 and you know what I mean? But the one thing that I did want from this app was the EVPs, like the electronic voice phenomenon. Like, I wanted the digital recorder from it, and I figured that was a good way to, like, do it, is just have this app. So one day, it was during the day actually, I decided that I was going to go to the cemetery, and I was going to do some EVPs and just see if, like, just messing around. Like, I don't like doing things by myself. Like, I kind of am still kind of scaredy cat when it comes to that kind of stuff, but in another sense, like, I want to know and I want to, like, do these kind of things. So anyway, I decided that I was going to go down there. I was in my car. I actually just stayed in my car. Turned my car off, but I stayed in my car. And I rolled my window down, and I put my hand out the window, and I started asking questions. And the questions were like, can you tell me how you died, or how old you are, or, where you're from, or what your name is, and stuff like that. So I ask all these questions and everything, and some time goes by, and it's not really, like, I wasn't close to the road at all, so, and there's, like, a couple houses around there, but, like, there was nothing that you could really, like, you wouldn't be able to hear people, because they're far enough away that, like, you wouldn't hear people. So anyway, I get done, probably like 10-15 minutes just sitting there asking questions and stuff. I come home, and then I decide I want to listen to all the recording and just see if I caught anything, not really expecting to catch anything. So I go back through, and I'm listening to myself ask these questions, which is weird. If you ever like heard yourself talk on video, it really is weird. But I'm listening to these questions, and I get to the one where it's like, do you know how old you are? Can you tell me how you died? And I ask, can you tell me your name? And I was kind of shocked to hear a response. And the response was very whispery, kind of low, sounded female to me. And it said, maybe. Just like that. It was like somebody was trying to tell me. I don't know if they were answering like their name is maybe, or they're, you know what I mean, like maybe they could tell me. I mean, I wish I would have known they said that, because I would have been like, well, why just maybe? Why can't you just tell me what your name is? But I thought, like, you know what I mean, like, okay, maybe this isn't true. So my mom, she's a big skeptic. She, she kind of is one of those people that are like, oh, you're being crazy, you're being crazy, you're being crazy kind of thing. So I had her and like everybody else I know listen to this recording, and even my mom, like, she could not even deny it. She was like, oh my god, like, I actually hear somebody respond. That's so freaky, like, what the heck? And I explained to her what I did and where I was and all that, and I was just like, I can't believe I got a response, like, this is really cool. And that's pretty much it, If I could find the recording, I'll put it in here. If I can't, I don't know, because it's, been about a year. And, I mean, I think it went in the Dropbox, but I'm not sure. So I'll have to look into that and see what's up. But those were 2 ghost stories that I have. I have plenty more. And I have other story times that I would love to tell you about, times that I was, involved with a gang, which was pretty damn crazy. And other times that, let's see, when I got kicked out of school pretty much, just like crazy stuff that's happened in my life. I mean, why not share it? See all these other people on YouTube sharing all this stuff, and I'm like, I got crazy shit. Who else got crazy shit? Everybody got crazy shit. So, I mean, if you'd like to see more, just at least give it a thumbs up. Let me know that that's what you want to do, especially paranormal. I'll tell you a lot of paranormal stuff. I have quite a few more things that